Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Greetings and welcome to my gunsmithing bench located here in the man cave. I thought that I would introduce you to and tell you the continuing saga of my CETME International Arms CETME rifle, or as I like to call it, the pain in my ass. Now, Century International was well known for the spotty quality of their CETME rifle builds. Some of their rifles were built by well qualified technicians who actually knew what they were doing, while other CETME rifles that they had were built apparently by professionally trained monkeys. Unfortunately, I got one of the monkey built rifles, although I did not know it at the time. I originally bought this CETME at a gun show several years ago. Got it at an excellent price, so I can't really complain about that. And for a variety of reasons, which I won't go into, I never got around to taking it out and actually test firing it until sometime last fall. It just sat in the gun safe for the last few years. Well, I took it out of the gun safe last fall and I was going to go test fire it when I discovered the first of many problems. The cocking handle, the cocking tube, cocking handle extension and the cocking tube, when cocking the bolt, it was very stiff and it was very rough going down the cocking tube, and that at a point about in here, the cocking handle extension actually stuck, and it required even more force to get it past that point. Well, I removed the handle and the cocking handle extension and discovered that the cocking handle extension that they had put in there was machined extremely rough. I mean, it was like a cat's tongue. Also, on the inside of the cocking tube, there were some burrs at the spot where it would stick. So what I ended up doing, I replaced the cocking handle extension with an actual H&K part, which was smooth like it's supposed to be. And I took some emery cloth, a dowel rod, and the electric drill and ran it up and polished the inside of the cocking tube and smoothed that up. So now that problem has been corrected. Well, after I did that, I took it out to the range to test fire. I put a magazine in it, I cocked it, did the HK slap, and aimed, pulled the trigger, and it went click. So I checked to make sure that it had chambered around, which it had. I ejected that round, I chambered another round, pulled the trigger, and it went click. Well, I took it and I looked underneath the mag well and looked at the bolt. Don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but I noticed that what was happening was that the bolt and the bolt carrier were not going all the way forward into battery. The good thing about this is that the safety feature on these guns worked exactly the way the designers intended it to. You see, these guns are designed so that if the bolt is not fully in the battery, the gun will not fire the round. The firing pin will not hit the primer. And that's exactly the way it worked. So that was good. So I brought it back home and started checking it. I field stripped it. And the first thing I did was check inside the trigger group to make sure there was nothing in there that might be dragging or interfering with the bolt or bolt carrier and causing it to slow down, and there wasn't. So I removed the bolt and bolt carrier. I removed the bolt from the bolt carrier, and I ran the bolt carrier back and forth inside the receiver to check to see if there was anything inside the receiver that might be causing it to slow down or interfering with it. And I didn't really find anything. So I set it aside, set it out, left it on the bench that night, and came back the next morning to work on it again. Well, the strangest thing had happened overnight. I can't explain it, and none of the HK CETME experts and gurus on the various forums that I asked about it could explain it. Nobody had ever heard of this happening before, and I know I certainly have never heard of it happening before. What had happened was the rear half of the receiver apparently had contracted in on itself by 0.010 of an inch. Now I know this to be true because when I was checking it out the night before, I had taken my calipers and measured the distance between the rails inside of the receiver and wrote down the measurement. So when I came back the next morning, I tried to insert the bolt carrier. It would not go in more than about a 1/2 inch. And then to get it any further, I had to hit it with a mallet to drive it the rest of the way. After it got about halfway, then it freed up and went the rest of the way. Well, before anybody says anything, at no time did I ever have the receiver in a vise, nor did I squeeze it in any other way. It was just left sitting on this bench. So I cannot explain it. So before I could do anything else, I had to fix that problem. So what I did is I took the bolt carrier and reversed it so I could use the spring tube guide, the spring guide on the bolt carrier as a handle. I liberally applied lapping compound, and with a whole lot of elbow grease over the next several days, I finally got it lapped in and to the point where now the bolt carrier slides back and forth in the receiver just as it's supposed to. All right, well, after I got that taken care of, I started doing closer analysis of the problem. See, what was happening was when I do the HK slap, the bolt carrier would go forward and it would stop before going fully into battery. And where the rear of the bolt has a gap between the rear of the bolt and the front of the bolt carrier, the gap was about 1/4 of an inch. So it was obviously not going all the way forward. On close examination, I discovered that the bolt locking rollers were coming out too far too soon and stopping the forward travel of the bolt and bolt carrier before it could fully enter the bolt locking or the locking roller recesses in the trunnion. So only two things that I knew of that could cause that. One was if the rollers that the monkeys put in at Century were too large, then they would be coming out too far prematurely and hanging up before it could go into the recesses. The other possibility was that the locking piece inside that pushes the locking rollers out was overly worn or of the wrong type, because there is more than one type with more than one angle and that could be the problem. So it would be pushing them out too soon. So what I did, I ordered some various size locking rollers, and I ordered an H&K locking piece. I have replaced the locking piece that was in this with the HK locking piece. I've done nothing with the rollers yet. And now when I do the HK slap, the bolt goes all the way forward. It appears to be locking into forward battery. And when I put in an empty case that I pulled the bullet out of, it popped the primer when I pulled the trigger. So that's a good sign. I may have that fixed. I won't know until I get out to the range and test fire it with some live ammo. Right now with the new locking piece, the bolt gap measures .007, which is at the lower end of the acceptable range, but it's still within the acceptable range. So tomorrow I'm going to be going out to the range. I'm going to test fire this. If it fires and functions, then I will run 2 or 3 magazines worth of ammo through it to make sure that it is firing and functioning properly. And that will seem to be the correction of the problem. I may or may not change the locking rollers to a larger size just to get the gap closer to the middle of the acceptable range. I haven't decided yet. I'm not sure if I want to spend any more time on this rifle or not, but I'll let you know after I test fire it. So the next step is to head out to the range and hopefully make some noise and put some big holes in the berm. Okay, we're out here at the Hathcock rifle range here at my club range, and we're going to function test this monkey-built CETME, see if I've got it fixed or not. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fire just one single round first for safety. After that, if it fires and functions, then I'll fire off one magazine full, slow fire, one at a time. If that works, then I'll put in another full magazine and I'll fire that off rapid fire. Now I'm not aiming at anything but the berm here because all I'm testing is the function. If it works, then we'll be coming back and I'll have a scope mounted on it and we'll sight it in and we'll test it for accuracy then. All right, that's a start. I'm going to assume that first failure was on my part. And not on the gun's part. We will find out. Seems to be locked. Let's see how it works slow fire. We have a failure to feed. Could be the magazines. try it again. Nope. It seems that we still have problems with the monkey-built CETME. It seems to be stuck. The bolt carrier seems to be stuck in the rear position. Okay, well, as you can see, we still seem to have some problems with this CETME. Then added a little bit of lube to the bolt carrier just for good measure, and we'll see if that has any benefit. Probably not. I suspect that there's other problems that need to be addressed with this thing, but we're going to give it another try here. Yep, we definitely have some other issues with this monkey-built CETME. So, just to make sure that the problem is not a bad magazine, and I'm pretty damn sure that it's not, I'm going to try this other magazine. Okay. Yep. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the magazine. The bolt carrier are obviously going too far to the rear and is sticking in place. Why that is, I have no idea at this moment. So, we're done with the test firing. I can say that at least we're further along getting this thing working than we were before, because now at least it does fire when the bolt does lock forward and fire. Unfortunately, now it's also locking rearward and sticking for some reason. So I'm going to be working on that over the next little while, and I'll update you on it, and then the next time we come out to test fire it, hopefully it will be working properly, and I will have fixed all the little monkey problems that this gun has. So until then, see ya.